first in your developing process? What was the nucleus behind the film? Was it the environment first, or was it the human relationships and then building the environment around it?
Sure. Well, the very first thing that came was me meeting Piper DePalma, and we made a couple of short films together while she was still in high school and I was in college. And I knew that I wanted to construct a feature around her because I just thought she was so talented and really got along well with her and loved working with her. So I had that idea first, and then through a series of research trips and talking to people who lived in communes, I felt that a commune would be a really interesting backdrop to explore some of these themes.
Yeah, and it's layered so beautifully. I'm curious, did anything change when the actors came aboard? What did the actors add to this process for you?
Sure, yeah. I basically told them to throw out the scripts and make up their own line, and a lot of the scenes in the movie are completely different than what was on the page. I really love working that way. I always say that, if I knew exactly what I wanted, then I would just write a book. But the fact that it's a movie, it's that it can be this malleable, collaborative thing. So I love entrusting actors that I trust.
Primarily takes place outside, and as we know as filmmakers, the challenge is the sound, the environment, and not being able to control it. And being indie, it's a lot tougher. So how did you deal with the elements and dealing with the environment around you?
Yeah, I think we just got really lucky. We only had one on-set sound person, and we had scenes where up to 7 actors had to be mic'd, and we just had an amazing sound person. Basically the sun was our only light. We shot with no lights except for the sun. So Scott, the DP, and I just timed out our whole schedule based on where the sun was going to be. We shot in August, and we had those nice long days. The hope was that sort of the micro-budget elements of the movie we really wanted to embrace it in the aesthetic and not sort of try and pretend like this was Transformers, but really just embrace the fact that let's see what we can do within these limitations.
So what do you love about being an indie filmmaker?
It's definitely has its challenges, but when you come to a place like Park City for these weeks and you see people lining up to watch independent movies, it's just the most rewarding thing and so invigorating and so exciting. And I just love collaborating with the people around me. As I said, if I wanted everything my way, I would pick a different medium. What's so great about film is that you come up with an idea by yourself, and then you look around you and there's 25 people all working with you to make that vision come to life. So as the director, you're truly in the most privileged position. And it felt like a dream every day. I was incredibly lucky.
You mentioned that you did a bunch of short films with Piper, and that you started in the short film area. How did that prepare you for doing this feature, and do you feel like that's somewhere where a young filmmaker should really focus and start?
Yeah, I would, because I didn't go to film school. And what's great about living in Los Angeles is that you can really create your own film school. I consider the short films that I made to be a kind of film school where I learned about filmmaking and got to collaborate with people who were sort of in the same position as me, people who just moved out there, who were just starting out. But I think the best film school is hanging out in video stores, like idiots, which unfortunately closed. But that to me was how I got my film education, was by hanging out in video stores and talking to clerks who are the most knowledgeable cinephiles out there.
As filmmakers, we look at our screen, and I'm sure you've seen this movie 1,000 times on screen, and you look at it and you go, okay, I could have cut there, I could have been tighter there, I wish I had gotten that shot, but I don't want to know any of that. I want to know from you, what do you think you nailed?
I think I nailed the casting, because I'm really proud of their performances. I think that they're all very strong, and I'm so proud of the people that I worked with, and I think the casting I was really proud of that.
Last question for you. When you have a passion in life, you
go do it.
What did you learn about communal living that you didn't know going into this process?
I learned that if there's one stray person, one person who's not following the responsibilities of the commune and not committing their time, everything sort of falls apart. And that it's such a, it's frail. When you think of cults, you think of oh wow, they're brainwashing them, there's no stopping it, but there is. If there's just a couple people who are totally going, just not following along with it.
So knowing that you're going into this environment that has all these rules and it has it has a way about it. It has an environmental stimulus and everything around it. For you, doing your process, do you start with that external skeleton and work inward, or do you go inward and work out?
That's a really interesting question. I honestly think it's a mixture of both because I mean, to perform this role, I really had to be immersed in the community. But I also, I mean, I wasn't really, I don't know, I had to follow a lot of my instincts, so I was doing a lot of internal work as well. And I don't think I could have done a good job had I not, known everyone I was working with, understood the values of this community. But I also don't think I could have done a good job if I didn't do my own internal work. So it was like finding that balance and really trusting my instincts.
You and Alec have worked together quite a bit. He mentioned that in talking to him. What is it like to have a director that you trust going into a process like this, especially a film where you know you're going to be on screen the entire time?
I think that's so important. I mean, I know that if I continue in this career, I will probably be working with directors that I don't know and I'm not very close with, but it was such a pleasure to work with Alec because we do have deep trust in each other and we're very comfortable with each other, and so I was able to not only do my job but play and like discover new things about my character and play around with things that might not work and take a lot of risks. And I think you need that trust and that comfort in order to do that work, because if you don't feel comfortable, then how can you explore?
What did this character in particular give you that you're going to take with you in your real life from now on?
I think this character really gave me the strength to just like go on my own way, do what I love to do, and try and fail. Because, being a young actress is hard, and I'm going to be rejected a lot, and I'm going to go through a lot of hardships. And I mean, I need that strength and that confidence in myself in order to keep going forward. And I think that's what Anna Keaton was trying to do.
And the dance stuff, how much did you work on that? Was that an endless process for you, or was it pretty natural?
Oh, I am not dancing. In terms of like the dancing sequence where I had to, I'm just like freestyling, doing whatever I want, that was very liberating, and that really came from me. But the other stuff, I really had to work on. It didn't come easy, and I needed to be comfortable in order to do it, and it was tough. But
I was just going to ask you, does fear debilitate you as an actress, or does it help you get further into the process?
I think it can do both. In terms of this piece, I think fear did stop me sometimes, and that's when Alec came in and was like encouraging me to keep going, push through, and everything's going to be fine, that I'm doing great. But I did a lot of stage acting in high school, and that fear actually drove me at that point, because you need that fear to keep you going. But I mean, it can go both ways. I think you need to have that fear, but sometimes it can just get in your way.
So what do you love about indie film?
I just love that people can just get together, make things that they're passionate about for like no money, and like, I mean, it's just about it's passion projects, and like, if you don't love what you're doing, why are you doing it? And it's not like Hollywood garbage, and I think indie film is dope. I think it's like so important that people are doing this, because movies are expensive, and they shouldn't be. We should be able to make movies with like iPhones and whatever you have available. Like, I wish it wasn't such a money-hungry industry, but it is, and so indie film just kind of says, nope, not gonna do that.
So what did you enjoy about your character in particular and doing this process?
I liked the process of we all got to hang out with each other in the film. While we're shooting, we got to like play soccer, we passed the ball to each other. Nice. It was fun.
Did you learn anything about communal living that you, I mean, obviously you probably didn't know a whole lot about it going into this, but did you learn something about it that you thought was kind of interesting or fascinating that you're going to take with you the rest of your life?
I feel like that my mom in the movie had to go for like day to day, like because she had to work and it was tough for my character because my mom had to go away for like a week or two.
So what do you like about indie film? Are you a fan of the making independent films, or do you hope to have bigger, greater heights?
I hope to have bigger, greater heights in acting.
Nice. Are you going to direct?
I don't know.
Oh, okay. What did you learn about communal living that you didn't know going into this process?
Communication is the most important thing. I mean, I guess that's not something I was ignorant to, but really in kind of living my character, there was so much tension between myself and the rest of the community because I wasn't owning my shit and I wasn't being accountable for my duties, and I just wasn't communicating about that. You know, I wasn't being clear about what I wanted and what I needed. I think I kind of had a chip on my shoulder and I was like kind of punishing everybody by just ghosting all the time. And that doesn't work. That just creates more tension and more frustration and resentment. And then resentment is the thing that festers within the community and it kind of just starts to rot from the bottom out.
Do you think that helped your character, though? Give it a little bit of an edge?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I definitely leaned it, even though I think that sort of collective intentional living is the future, and I'm interested in developing a community like that for myself, like with my friends, and really building that and living sustainably and with all the philosophy of permaculture. And so it's like I know that it's so important, and I think that that's the way. Yeah, I'm just like all over you. And that's just the way that humans are supposed to live. We're supposed to live in community. And so I'm totally open to and all about that life. And there's a part of me that's also skeptical about it not working when people aren't honest, and when they're not honest with themselves first. And some people can't help it. You know, some people just maybe don't know what they actually want. You know, and have been like kind of conditioned to live a life that is not like totally really in alignment like with what they want.
So with this kind of role, you knew you were going to be in this environment. It's a very controlled environment. It has a very unique and interesting, muse, so to speak, and it has rules, and things are done a certain way in an environment like this. And yeah, you get to go outside of that, but you're still inside of it a little bit. So within your process, did you take that as the external and start going inward, or did you go inward and work outward?
I think I went inward and then outward because I had time to myself before I even met the cast for the first time. I came in about like a week before shooting probably because I kind of came on board last minute for the project. I had other stuff going on. So I spent a lot of time in my own world. So like before even meeting the people that were, characters in the story, I really kind of just tuned into that to what was resonating already for me, and then just kind of like amplifying, just expanding the different elements of the character as she was on paper, and kind of finding them inside of myself, and just finding resonance with that, and just kind of like searching for it, I guess, like searching for resonance, which I feel like is just what acting is for me. And so then it was fun because I kind of developed this inner world for myself, and was able to really sit with that in my imagination. And then when I met the cast and everybody else, I could just kind of let it unravel and interact with it, with this framework, just kind of let them interact with me. And, there's just this, there's just this natural responding on both ends.
Do you like playing the foil in the movie?
Yeah, it's fun. I kind of like, because I think there's a part of me that's definitely a trickster, and that's definitely like, just an eye roller, so it was fun to lean into that and just like, I don't know, be a jerk, I guess. Because it's really not my nature.
Right. What did this character teach you that you're taking with you into your real life?
I think that I really appreciate how motivated she is. She's really committed committed to her work and really committed to doing whatever it takes to build the life that she wants for herself and for her son. That's inspiring to me, you know, because it's hard and it's not easy for her to leave her son. You know, I mean, she's used to it, but it's still not easy. It's heartbreaking every time, even though I think she presents a little more hard, like a hard shelled and a little calloused. Like she's still.
But that's more because she knows her sister's there, right?
Yeah, and so I think it's almost defensive. She's not like showing how emotional it is because I think she has to keep her like confident and sort of facade. Because I think she's really like figuring it out, you know. So I think I really appreciate that about her, and it's also I appreciate that she does her own thing, you know, and I appreciate that she is, also just kind of a skeptical voice, you know, that's the voice of reason. She's not, like, she's still a good person and she's sincere, but she doesn't feel like she needs to use the same language as everybody else, and like she's just really interested in being authentic to who she is.
What do you love about indie film?
I think it's just really seeing like just different perspectives on like around being alive. You know, there's so many different ways that we experience reality, and through indie film, I feel like there's so much liberty in like literally how we choose to share our own perspective and like